YouTube is LMERicoTv, man. I'm back with another video. Y'all see what we got going on. We got the deadly war that started UK drill, 6-7 versus 150. So y'all know what time it is. Now, I already heard quite a few from both sides and videos on the things that was going on around them and involving the street life and shit like that, as well as they music artists and what they doing in music. So this is gonna be my first ever video to they whole actual beef for real and why they beefing in the first place and stuff like that. And shout out to Kid Nerd, man, because Kid Nerd stayed pulling out bangers like this and stuff and making it possible for us reaction YouTubers be able to react to content like this and stuff like that. So shout out to Kid Nerd, man. If y'all don't know about him, definitely go check out his channel, man. He got a lot of videos like this and he be going crazy. But with that said though, man, we gonna see why the UK drill really started, like what really was the reason behind it and stuff like that. So with that said, man, if you're brand new to the channel or you've been watching videos on the channel but not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Now I'm on the grind to 10K and I'm currently halfway there, man. So shout out to y'all that's been supporting the channel and rocking with me. Without y'all, my channel wouldn't be where it's at. And also don't forget to smash that like button and comment on the video as well. And also don't forget to turn on post notifications so you guys get notified when I drop new videos, and be sure you don't miss out on new videos. Check out the channel every day so you don't miss out. And also don't forget to tell your family and friends about the channel, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel as well. And also don't forget to add and follow me on social media, man. All my social media platforms are listed down below in the description box as well as in the intro of the video, so you shouldn't have a hard time at all finding me on social media. With that said though, man, y'all know what time it is. I'm gonna go ahead and start the screen record. That started. It's starting the vid now.
UK drill has come a long way since its roots, from its underground and heavily Chicago influenced start to a now more commercial and cleaned up genre. If we was to tell people back in 2012 that 10 years later that drill artists would be getting hundreds of millions of views and be getting nominated for Brit Awards, they'd think you're crazy, but it's happened. Let's look into how the genre even started in the first place and how a deadly feud in South London got us all the way here. Let's get into it. Before I get into this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to Emma Sleep Beds for sending me out one of their divan bed and mattresses. So I've been seeing these beds all over the internet recently, so when they hit me up, it's too messy and clogged up. But seriously though, shout out Emma Sleeps. Surprisingly, the bed all came within the space. So the drill sound as a whole originally website, or click the link in my description to get your Emma Sleep products. Let's get into the video. So the drill sound as a whole originally started in Southside Chicago with some early artists to create the sound, being big Chicago rapper Chief Keef and the now deceased Little Jojo in the early 2010s, which is a whole different story for another video. But it didn't take too long for London to start adopting the sound, with one of the first UK drill songs to come out in 2013 when a couple guys from a Brixton gang called 150 dropping a song called It's Crackin', which was a heavy diss track to another opposition gang called 6-7, who are from an area called Brixton Hill. 6-7 even came back with their own diss drill song, using the same beat as the song It's Crackin', and named it It's Fryin'. But it wasn't always like this. Just a few years before this, 6-7 and 150's area used to be cool. These times, 6-7's area, Brixton Hill, used to be called BHB, which was an abbreviation for the Brixton Hill Bullies, and 150's area, which is situated in the Brixton estate called Angeltown, used to be called Gas Gang, with both Brixton Hill and Brixton only being separated by one road. There are even some early tunes with both 6-7 and 150 members on the same track, but in the early 2010s this all changed and parts of Brixton started separating. Stuff started getting patchy in the area in 2010. Around these times, Gas Gang, who are now called 150, were having back and forths with another gang located around 7 minutes away in an area called the Lower Toast Hill, and the gang in that area was called TN1. But on July the 2nd, 2010, this back and forth took a turn for the worse. An affiliate of the TN1 gang, a 15-year-old kid who went by the name Little Zach, was making his way towards his pupil referral unit, which is pretty much a school for kids who have been kicked out of their mainstream school, normally for bad behaviour. Unfortunately, on some bad timing, 5 members of Gas Gang were also making their way towards this school. Before Little Zach could
That's crazy. I remember reacting to this because it was a video I did a long time ago about this specific situation right here. And it's just crazy now that I'm pretty much getting a refresher on this whole situation. So now I see why their situation is the way it is, because based off in this situation what happened, it was definitely crazy and brutal. Sad situation overall, because the kid was only, what, 15, I think he just said. So he was very young, man. And it's just crazy that people around that age is already trying to live that type of life and do things like that to somebody else for real. Like, it's just crazy how the streets is nowadays and stuff, and how even the youth is involved heavily now. And it's just crazy at the lengths that these guys will go just because of the hate they got for one another. And some of these situations don't even really be like over real serious shit for real. It just be over petty little back and forth arguments or whatever the case may be. Or just because of the simple fact you from a different block or neighborhood that ain't pretty much cool with other neighborhoods and shit like that. So some of these guys really be beefing over small stuff that ain't really warranted for situations like this to happen. But it just goes to show you, man, in the street life, they don't care, and they gonna go to whatever lengths they gotta go to make it known that they really live that type of life for real. So that said, though, man, this is just crazy that I remember this still. But other than that, though, we're gonna go ahead and continue on.
Could even get to his school gates. The gas gang members jumped out on him, and with little Zach probably being so terrified and not thinking straight, instead of running into his school, he tried to make a break for it on the road. He managed to get around 100 meters away, but was eventually cornered in the back garden and was repeatedly stabbed to death. This death was especially sad due to little Zach, just a day before his murder, gave a speech at a London conference about how he wanted to leave the gang life behind him and move on. Little Zach also suffered from sickle cell, leading him to be very small for his age. 5 teenagers were sentenced for this murder, one being a big gas gang rapper on the scene called JJ. He was actually identified literally by his nose poking out of his hoodie on the CCTV. The murder of Little Zach made politics weird in the area, including people from Brixton Hill who are civil with both TN1 and gas gang. This situation, alongside a few more situations, caused a massive divide between Brixton Hill and Brixton. Around the same time, the Chicago drill scene started popping off, with the whole of London being tuned in to big Chicago rapper Chief Keef, which started slowly influencing the UK rap game. In 2012, both 6-7 and 150 started to become more active in the rap scene, with 6-7 having a couple rappers like Scribs and Dimsy, and 150 having a few rappers as well like Styx and M-Dog, rapping on old school UK rap beats. But around 2012 you could already start to see some early influence, which started showing when 150 rapper Styx dropped a song called Psycho in 2012. He starts the song off by saying Sosa Baby, which is the same way how Chicago rapper Chief Keef would start off his song. The following year in 2013, this developed into 6-7, making probably the first drill diss track, with 6-7 members Scribs and Monkey making the diss track towards 150 called Really in the Field. A month later, 150 rappers Styx and M-Dog came back at 6-7 with the drill diss track that I mentioned previous called It's Crackin'. In 2014, more and more back and forth tracks between the two gangs continue, and in the same year, other gangs in South London start to jump on drill beats as well, including 6-7 jumping on the same beat as the diss track 150 aimed at them called It's Crackin', turning this into the first UK drill beef. But this was also making the streets hot at the time, and less than a couple weeks after 6-7 dropped their diss track called It's Fryin', it was clear that this feud was just more than music. On February the 25th, 2014, a 6-7 member took a trip to Angeltown Estate, which is territory of the 150 gang, until he saw a member of 150 and started trying to run him down. A 150 rapper who went by the name SQ just happened to be driving past at the time and spotted the altercation and tried to hop out of his car and help his friend out. When SQ approached the 6-7 member, he was stabbed multiple times, with a stab wound hitting his heart, leaving him in critical condition and sadly later dying from his injuries. Around the same time, 6-7 started gaining more notice.
What is Outplay? You play and it records. You can choose exactly what you want it to record, whether it be kills, assists, deaths, wins, just the action, which saves you a lot of recording space and
more notoriety in the music scene, mainly due to a rapper from the gang called Scribs. But at the time, Scribs was on a couple cases, which in 2014 eventually ended up with him being banned from making music. But this didn't stop him, with Scribs changing his name to LD and dropping the biggest UK drill tune to come out at the time, called Live Coon. This done numbers, and people in the UK that never heard of drill certainly heard of it after this song, and this really put 6-7 on the map. After this, the group were getting millions of views on pretty much anything they put out there, while 150 was starting to struggle for views. But while 6-7 was starting to pick up momentum on their tracks, the streets were also starting to heat up. In 2015, a 6-7 rapper called SJ ordered a minicab from Kennerton in South London to an area called Herne Hill, also in South London. But halfway through his journey, his cab was spun by police, and once him and the cab were searched, he was found in possession of a revolver and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Unfortunately, this was deep into when 6-7 started seeing success, but this didn't really stop the gang's success, and 6-7 really turned drill from an underground sound to a genre which will be listened to all over the country, which was definitely clear when 6-7 was nominated for Best Newcomer in the 2016 Mobile Awards, which was a big statement for the genre. But while 6-7 was starting to receive musical success, 150 was starting to fall under the radar until a 150 rapper called M24 started to jump on the scene, jumping on a feature with rappers from another gang in Brixton called Skengdo and AM, which done numbers. And he really started putting on for his gang, especially in 2019, featuring other members of his 150 gang on his songs, getting tens of millions of views. But while 150 was starting to rise up in the scene, 2019 proved to be a deadly year for this war. On March the 19th, a 6-7 rapper called Leaks was driving through Clapham in South London with his brother. Now Clapham is territory of a gang called CT, who are closely aligned with 150 and also beef 6-7. Leaks' brother, who was driving at the time, turned into a street called Clapham Park Road when they drove into traffic. Two members of the CT gang spotted Leaks in the passenger seat, one packed with a knife, the other with a walking crutch, and started to pursue the car and tried to spin his whip to avoid the traffic and get away. But unfortunately, while doing this, he crashed into a traffic light. One member of CT then lunged into the driver's seat while the window was open and stabbed Leaks' brother 3 times, while the other member started whacking him with the walking stick. The 6-7 rapper Leaks actually managed to pull a walking stick from the back seat and tried to protect his brother, but in less than 10 seconds of confrontation, it was too late, and Leaks' brother sadly died from his injuries.
Yeah, that's just a crazy situation, especially in over there, man. When you in traffic, a lot of their streets is really narrow and shit too, and it's just packed with cars on both sides of the street, so it's kind of hard for you to really maneuver around for real in your car if you're driving around, etc., etc. So that said, man, out there it's kind of tough to really get away with, even if you on them in a car or a motorized vehicle, whatever the case may be, and stuff like that, because it's just so much different out there to really try to maneuver in traffic for real, if you really had to get away from somebody and stuff that's really on your ass and stuff like that. But that's it though, man. Sad situation. And it's crazy, somebody just happened to spot him in the passenger seat, so that mean they had to spot them while they was either driving a little bit slow or just because they was kind of stopped somewhere while they was still in the car, and somebody was able to go ahead in that amount of time. All right, hey, that's such and such, let's go ahead, get on that type shit. So that's it, man. That's just a crazy situation. They probably wasn't even expecting something like that to go on while they was riding around where they was riding around. But who knows, because at the end of the day, man, they was still just driving around and stuff, doing whatever they was finna do and stuff. And sadly, it was just at that time they was just happening to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and stuff. So that's it though, man. That situation, I'm pretty sure it was definitely crazy. You crash your car, and then not only that, y'all car gets swarmed around people y'all into it with, and in the middle of that, your brother window happened to be rolled down, so it was a lot easier for those people to go ahead and attack him and stuff and do what they did to him and shit like that. But you on the other side trying to do your best to protect your brother and stuff with whatever y'all had in the car at the time, to try to at least defend yourselves, etc., stuff like that. So it's definitely a sad situation when you gotta sit there and literally see your own brother lose his life right then and there to other people and stuff, and you doing everything you can possibly try to do to help them and stuff like that. So other than that though, man, that's definitely a crazy ass situation for real. But with that said, we're gonna go ahead and continue on.
The saddest thing about his death, Leaks' brother, who was a father at the time, wasn't even involved in the gang life. A couple months after this.
Wow, so with that said, that just updated me a little bit on that his brother actually wasn't even involved in the street life for real. So damn, that's even worse. You riding around with somebody that ain't even about that type of lifestyle like you is, but yet they the ones that end up suffering the consequences of being around you because you're the one that's actually in the street life for real. But at the end of the day, no matter if you around somebody that ain't a part of that or not, they're going to automatically be looked at as a person that's a op to the other side because they don't know that person for real. All they know is they seen that person with you. So that mean y'all got to be, that mean that person also got to be a part of that shit too for real. So they went ahead and did what they did, even though he wasn't really a part of the street life for real. But that also goes to show you, man, it's kind of hard being a part of the streets and having family around you, friends around you that ain't a part of that type of lifestyle. So it's like you got to move differently when you with people that you know for sure ain't a part of that lifestyle like you is and stuff like that, because they could be automatically targeted just because they were seen with you. So imagine if those ops of yours can't get to you, guess what they gonna do? Now they gonna try to go after the people that's closest to you because they either know that those people know you and you're around them, or they just happen to see you around that person for them to know like, all right, that person clearly got some type of affiliation with the person we really beefing with for real. So we going after that person too now. So just definitely a sad situation for real, man. That's crazy and messed up. But that said though, man, we're gonna go ahead and continue on.
An 18-year-old affiliate of CT called Stomps was also killed, and a 6'7" member called Giant was convicted for the murder and sentenced to life. Around this time, 6'7" started falling off quite a bit on music, especially after two of their main rappers called ASAP and LD were locked up for a county line operation, which was shipping crack and heroin from South London to more than an hour away in Basingstoke. More 6'7" members were also booked in 2019, running different county line operations around the country. And
if I'm not mistaken, I think that's literally what LD recently had just got out of jail for like a year or two ago or whatever the case may be. I think it was about a year ago. I don't think it was 2 years, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that was the same situation for why he ended up recently getting out of jail and stuff. But with that said, we're going to continue on.
Another 6'7" rapper called ST just got sentenced to 8 years for possession of a revolver. It was starting to seem like 6'7's time of being the king of drill music was now over, at a time when 150 rappers like M24 and Stick were starting to make moves in the music scene. But while 6'7 was starting to become more quieter in the scene, affiliates of 6'7 from a nearby estate called RuPaul Park were starting to make some noise on the scene, with two rappers from the estate called VD and Dopey dropping a very rude song directed towards mainly 150 and CT called Local Shops. This song came with a lot of disses towards someone called S1. S1 was an 18-year-old CT member whose life was sadly ended in August 2019. S1 alongside one of his female friends were walking through Brixton when they were approached by a RuPaul Park member who went by the name TY. S1 and TY were seen conversing on the street, which ended with the pair going their separate ways. Around 30 minutes after the first altercation, S1 S1 and his female friend were starting to make their way towards a nearby house and happened to walk past TY again, but this time TY started to follow S1 and eventually approached him. This altercation was much more violent than the first, which ended in a fight with S1 being left with multiple stab wounds and sadly dying from his wounds. But after the success of their first song, VD and Dopey were starting to hit the booth more throughout 2019, and with RuPaul Park becoming more of a smaller batch, they were gonna start carrying the 6-7 name on their songs. But in September 2019, their music career was left on pause after VD and Dopey got into a situation outside the KFC in West London, which ended with VD stabbing a 17-year-old to death. VD and Dopey were both sentenced for this murder, but Dopey ended up beating the case. VD wasn't that lucky though, and he was convicted for the murder. By this time, drill had started to become more commercialized, and even though some other 6-7 members were starting to release tracks, they weren't really popping off as much as they used to, while the top drill artists like Tion Wayne and Russ Millions were dropping more catchy and rhythm-based drill songs. 6-7 were still dropping more lyrically based and violent songs, which wasn't really with the times in 2020. But this is where 150 rapper M24 really started to pop off, even jumping on a hit song with Tion Wayne called London. A new rapper from 6-7 called PR started making some noise on the scene though, but again his songs were more lyrically based and were also really violent, which ended with police taking down a lot of his tracks due to the feds saying that his songs were inciting violence, especially due to the spout of violence that was going on in Brixton at the time. But when we compare year by year crime statistics, Brixton crime has actually went down quite significantly, with it mainly due to the rundown estates in Brixton, like 150's block called Angeltown, being knocked down and rebuilt with nice modern apartments, making the area look almost unrecognizable from its former state. But unfortunately, the estate still has a big issue with gang violence, with it still being the area where 150 members reside and chill, which also means it's a hotspot for enemies who are looking for 150 members to go to, which was clear on August 20th, 2020 around 6 PM. On this day, 150's rapper called Sticks was celebrating his birthday on the Angeltown estate, so a rapper called 16 Shots, who's from an affiliate gang of 6-7, took a trip to the Angeltown estate that day. When he arrived, he managed to find 150 rapper Sticks and stabbed him in his face. But when 16 Shots tried to make an escape from the estate, multiple 150 members were catching wind to what just happened and started to chase him out the estate. But once the gang caught up to him, the rapper 16 Shots was stabbed repeatedly, leaving him with a total of 33 stab wounds all over his body.
Dang, that's crazy. So he originally was sliding on somebody that he into it with, only to have multiple people slide after him and did what they did. So he stabbed somebody in the face, and in return, he got stabbed 33 times. That's just crazy, man. At the end of the day, if you ain't built for that type of lifestyle, man, just stay out the streets, man, because shit like this ain't shit you would ever want to happen to you, let alone anybody close to you that you know, especially if that person ain't a part of the street life for real. The same things that happen to those that's really in the streets for real can happen to civilians, and that's the messed up thing, because the civilians, whether they got anything to do with anything for real or not, they the ones that's not really out here making these type of moves for real. They not out here speaking on dead people on the opposite side just because they know they got family that's a part of the street life. That don't mean they're including themselves just because of that person and stuff like that. They actually still living a regular average life like a normal person. Like, they not making diss songs, they not making disses towards other people from different neighborhoods and stuff that they know they family members are into it with and stuff like that, or friends, etc., however these people are affiliated with one another. They not really saying anything or doing anything with these situations, and yet they're the ones paying the consequence because of those people that they happen to be around and are affiliated to and stuff like that by default. So at the end of the day, man, if you a civilian, you at the end of the day gonna have to move differently if you know you're gonna be hanging around people like this, because if somebody see you with that person, it don't matter who you are. If you ain't got nothing to do with it, they still gonna look at you as, oh, because you were with that person, we gonna make you an enemy target too. So it's just a whole sad situation all around in this whole war that they got going on. They got innocent people losing their lives, innocent people witnessing things that they shouldn't possibly witness and stuff because they not a part of the shit for real. Actual family members are getting killed too as well. It's just all messed up at the end of the day with this whole beef right here. And I already know for sure, we all know for sure that this ain't the only beef that's got circumstances like this going on. It's everywhere. Anywhere that got a hood and some gangs into it with each other, this situation like this happening on the daily. And that's just the sad thing, man. Instead of this really staying between the gangs for real, they also are, again, innocent people included as well into these whole situations. So it's just sad that even if you want to be a regular person, at the end of the day, you could potentially still end up a victim. And you just don't know when or where or how or why. Because once it happens, it just happens. And it don't come with a warning or nothing. So everybody, at the end of the day, the moral of the story, just watch your back, watch your surroundings, and pay attention to everything, man. Because gangs and the street shit that's going on, it ain't discriminating against nobody. It done got to the point where it ain't just gangs versus gangs. It's gangs versus civilians and shit down there now. Like, civilians is just getting put in there by default because of their own affiliations with people that's a part of the street life. So just gonna have to move differently as well. Like, if you around these type of people, even if you not a part of the street life, you gonna have to move a certain way just like them. Because if somebody see you with that person one day, they might not do nothing to you that day, but you're going to have to keep in mind they can possibly try to do something another day, whether you with that person or not. All they know is, oh, yeah, I remember seeing you the other day with that person. So, hey, you a target. It is what it is. And that's how it really is nowadays. So, that's it, man. If you ain't really a part of the street life, try to stay away from it. And if you around people that is a part of the street life, but you're not a part of it, you just going to have to move differently and try to stay low-key as possible. Don't make your moves known. Don't post yourself with that person on social media like that unless you ready to protect yourself by any potential oppositions and stuff like that. And just continue to watch your surroundings. That's all I can really say on that, but let's continue on. The video is almost over, and it's kind of getting into that 30-minute time frame, so I'm trying to hurry up and end it before it get there.
In front of herds of shocked onlookers. Not too long after, paramedics and police arrived at the scene after multiple calls about the incident. When the ambulance arrived, they tried to treat the wounds, but because there were so many, paramedics had to strip him naked in front of the residents of the estate, with 16 shots constantly begging for a blanket to cover him up. But the medical workers soon realized that the injuries were much worse than they thought, so they had to airlift him to a nearby hospital, where he sadly died later on. Sticks, along with a few more 150 members, were originally arrested for the murder, with some being released under investigation and some being released with no further action. But at the end of last year, after the feds had investigated the murder, another 150 rapper called M-Dog, alongside a few more members, got charged for the murder and are currently awaiting trial. M-Dog was actually quite a big pioneer for UK drill music, with him jumping on one of the first ever UK drill songs, which is sad to see him go out like that. And with another triple shooting on the Angel Town estate last year on September the 12th, leaving an affiliate of 150 called Chino dying, shows this beef has no signs of ending soon, despite both groups seeing musical success. Nowadays, UK drill is in a completely different place to how it was in 2013, with new age drill artists being judged more on their musical ability rather than what they've done on the streets. But it's impossible to have a conversation of the pioneers of UK drill music without talking about 6-7 and 150's launch of the genre. It's been your boy Kid Nerd, and peace out.
And that's the end of the video, man. A lot of crazy stuff going on in they whole beef. A lot of innocent people got hurt in a crossfire, and that's just the sad reality to gang violence, man. And like that too for family and friends of those people that's not actually a part of the street life for real. So that's it, man. This just should open y'all eyes that it don't matter who you are at any day or any point in time. If you happen to be around people that's involved with the street life, you could possibly end up the same way as some of these people, for real, getting hurt, getting beat up, etc., stuff like that. So if you gonna be around these people, like I said earlier, you just gonna have to be ready to defend yourself at all times and be ready for whatever, just because don't nobody care if you a part of the street life or not. If they see you with an enemy, they automatically gonna make you an enemy as well. But that said though, man, that's pretty much the end of the video, man. Make sure you guys don't forget to smash that like button, comment on the video as well, and also don't forget to tell your family and friends about the channel, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel. I'm on the grind to 10K, and I'm halfway there, man. So shout out to y'all that's been rocking with me and supporting the channel. And also don't forget to turn on post notifications so you guys get notified when I drop new videos, and to be sure you don't miss out on new videos. Check out the channel every day, no matter the time of the day, just because you never know when I'm dropping. You don't want to miss out. And also don't forget to add and follow me on social media. All my social media platforms are listed down below in the description box as well as in the intro of the video, so you shouldn't have a hard time at all finding me on social media. With that said though, man, that's the end of the vid, and I'm gonna catch you guys later on more, so stay tuned. Peace.